The truth.
Welcome to the second hour of Authentic News right here on RBN Live this 6th day of May, 2025, our first show since the station went out last night in bad weather. And the first on Teams. They've done away with Skype. Yours truly, total neophyte, having trouble putting it together, making it work. Please bear in mind, with a couple days experience under our belt, we're going to get it right. Want to encourage everyone to call in now. We do have several very familiar callers on the line standing by. I want to give them a chance, but I like new callers too. Where begin? Don in Arizona. Don, join the conversation, Don.
Oh, Jim, you're a public figure. They can say anything they want to, can't they? Against you? I don't know.
No, if it's malicious, if they know it's false, and they said in reckless disregard of the facts, it just raises the bar to establish defamation. But he's done it. I mean, I think that we're going to have a lot of proof. The problem is it just, it takes a modest amount of funding to carry these things forward. I've got an investigator on the case, and I got an attorney with whom I've worked before, and I think he will do this at minimal cost. But if anyone, is interested, go ahead. Give me more of your thoughts. Go ahead. The bar is higher to prove malice, but I don't doubt it's provable in this case repeatedly. Continue.
Well, I'll kick in some money there. What did anything ever come of this idea of a debate with Jeff Nyquist? I said I'd give you $200 on it.
Oh, yeah. We're doing it on Thursday.
Thursday?
We're doing it on Thursday, Don. Yeah.
And on your show on Thursday?
No, it's on his show or whichever show. We'll track it down,
John Moore? In the morning?
Yeah, I think it's on. Yeah, maybe on more, but I mean it's in the evening. It's not in the morning. Let's see. I think Julie's putting it up when we got the debate. Let me tell you, Don.
Oh, good. Hello. Did we lose you?
Let me see if I can find in the debate here. RBN debate, because you deserve to know. Yeah, no, it's going to happen. And we're debating JFK. Here it is, debate with Jeff Nyquist.
JFK, that relates to everything else. His whole theory is he thinks the Russians killed JFK, and everything bad is because of the Russians and the Chinese. So it relates to everything else. His whole international communist conspiracy shtick and all that too. It's all related.
Yeah, well, we can get into it, but let me see. I've got it on my calendar. It's going to be 9 p.m. JFK debate on Thursday, Don. 9 p.m. So just come 9 p.m. right here to RBN. 9 p.m. Thursday. I will debating the guy. Go ahead.
9 p.m. Central Time, you mean, like on the...
Oh, yeah, 9 p.m. Central. That's right. That's my time. Yeah, 9 p.m. Central. Yeah. So if you're
Right.
Pacific, it'll be 7 p.m. If you're Eastern, it'll be 10 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Yeah. Don, I'm real pleased you called to ask because, yeah, we're following up, and it's wonderful of you to offer
Yeah.
that.
I said I'd give 1,000. I will. I'll give 1,000 to. I'll give 1,000 to them 'cause I've
RBN?
been getting, RBN and 200 to you. Then after it's
Oh,
done.
that's very kind.
After it's done.
Yeah, did you
All right.
catch it? Did you catch the location? It's givesendgo.com/funding Fetzer.
Yeah,
Give,
I've
send,
donated
go.
before. I've donated before to your Give Send Go. Yeah.
Very nice, Don. Much
All right.
appreciated. Much appreciated. I'm delighted. Yeah. It's going to be Thursday night at 9 p.m., and we're going to be debating JFK, Don. I mean, wow.
Yeah, he's
What a
what
wonderful-
he'll try to do. What he'll try to do. There was a debate before with Slattery. Slattery debated Jeff Nyquist, but actually that was a fake debate, and Slattery just let him win. He wasn't trying to win. So what he'll try to do is start reciting a lot of trivia about that he knows about the Soviet era and stuff. But I'm sure you'll keep him. You'll hold his feet to the fire on this deal.
Wow.
Jim, I hope.
Don, did these debates, I mean, is there equal time, or is he able to talk over me? Are we going to have it set up so that...
Yeah, you need a moderator. Is there a moderator?
Yeah, there's got to be a moderator. Yeah.
They should regulate the time. Right. 'Cause otherwise, Nyquist will filibuster because he has nothing.
Yeah.
He has nothing, so he'll try to filibuster. But let me one comment I was going to make.
Julie. Go ahead, Julie. That might well be. I mean, tell me.
You talking to
Okay,
Julie
good.
now?
So, are we familiar with debates he's done before? Does he give each time an opportunity to present their part and then go back and forth? All right, Julie. Excellent. I thought this would be fun, but Don, you're the guy who made it sensational by your generous offer to support RBN if I were to do this, and I'm glad, very glad.
I'm sure other people have donated a lot more than that, but I find it hard to donate because there's a lot of people I don't like. But I just want to make this one comment. Your friend
Sure.
Kevin Barrett, he interviewed this guy Henry Herskovitz on the role of Jews. And Henry Herskovitz is a new one on me. He's a Jew who resigned from the Jews.
Okay.
Now a lot of these other people like Max Blumenthal, they remain Jews, but they're against the genocide. But still, they won't come clean on the Holocaust.
Yeah.
See, this guy will come clean
Don,
on the Holocaust.
I've done a lot exposing the Holocaust. The most important book ever published on the Holocaust, relatively recent, was by a fellow in the UK by the name of Nick Kohlerstrom,
right,
who's an historian of science. I mean, we've known each other for a long time. He's an expert on the London 7/7 subway bombings, a host of other issues. He's probably the person I most admire in the world today. And he published a book entitled Breaking the Spell, just exposing the whole hoax. And I was very flattered when he invited me to write the introduction to his book. So I published it independently. It's called The Holocaust Narrative, Politics versus Science. Politics trumps science, because politics is used to override science. And I give a nice distilled summary in relatively brief pages. You can find it both on my blog at jameshfetzer.org, but also on the governmentrag.com.
Well, gas chambers don't make any sense. If the Nazis decided they actually wanted to kill every Jew, they could put a bullet in every Jew's head, and there would be no survivors of the whole thing, right? I mean, it's just illogical. It's irrational to even think about using gas chambers, which makes no sense at all. It's been proven that there were no gas chambers, really. Yeah, a lot of them died. They were used as slave labor, and they died. And they got typhus, and that's why that gas was used, really, to disinfect clothing. And even Kurt Vonnegut, the novelist Kurt Vonnegut, got captured as a prisoner of war. And he even talks about it in his book Slaughterhouse-Five, that he heard his clothes tumbling around because he knew it was disinfecting by the gas, even the American prisoners. So I mean, and Max Blumenthal is smart enough to know that it's a hoax, but they have to. That's the thing they stick together with their Jewish solidarity. They have to go with this lie about the Holocaust hoax. I'll let you go. You probably got other callers. Thanks.
Oh, Don, I'm real pleased you called. And anyone who wants more, I've laid out. I did a video about the Holocaust exposing the fraud. You can find it at jameshfetzer.org under the Conspiracy Guy or the 65 shows, and you'll scroll down. I don't know. There are like 65 shows. It's number, I don't know, maybe 48, somewhere down there, about the official narrative of World War II. Historical fact or mass illusion is the title, as I recall. You won't have any doubt about it after you go through that this whole thing is a total fraud. One of the biggest lies ever told. Just monstrous. Don, I'm real pleased you called. Just wonderful to have you here. Thank you. Okay, Cynthia, California. Cynthia, join the conversation. Welcome back.
Hi, I'm responding to your discussion of the difference in IQs between American blacks and American Caucasians. And I'm focusing on something I heard at a medical conference probably 25 years ago related to blacks in Africa, that they probably suffered a decrement in IQ because the original diet included kelp brought in from the oceans. It was the traditional trading, bartering system. You'd have kelp in your diet, and that's been found in many primitive societies up in the mountains, is that they have kelp. They carry a small amount with them, and they have some every day. Now, American physicians were taught that kelp was dangerous to us. And kelp is the best source, one of the best sources of iodine. Without enough iodine, the mother is hypothyroid, and the child will suffer IQ decrements. And I propose the theory that the people on the coast of Africa who happen to be knowledgeable in this, who may have been the merchants who had worldwide connections, may have understood this connection and may have cut off the supply to make it easier to collect people from the interior of Africa to be slaves, because you don't want a slave who's really bright. I had a situation where I ended up in Texas with multiple lawyers, one of whom was Caucasian and a practicing neurosurgeon, one of whom was Asian and was an electrical engineer, and one of whom was an African man who came here as an adult to go to college. He went to Harvard, where he excelled, and went to UT School of Law, and he was by far and away the best attorney I had. And when he wanted a wife, by the way, he called the village elders, and they found him a wife, because he told me he did not want an American woman for a wife. So in America, they have set the amount of iodine that you need at a minuscule of the amount that the Japanese have all the time because of their ingestion of kelp. And so if you look at processed food in America, they use salt in it, but they don't use iodized salt. So anyone raised on processed food risks being more iodine deficient than somebody whose mother was cooking at home and most likely had purchased iodized salt. And so I'm just putting that out there, is that it's very hard to actually evaluate for hypothyroidism. There is still significant controversy. The person I think of when I want to review that topic is Stephen Gundry, the retired heart transplant surgeon who went into restorative medicine using diet. And he explains how difficult it is to actually figure out if somebody is hypothyroid or not, because you really can't trust the test. In fact, I had a situation in the mid-'90s when I had a patient who was hospitalized in a psychiatric facility, and I pulled a thyroid-stimulating hormone on her, and it came back very high. And I really didn't think she was hyperthyroid, so I repeated the test, and it came back normal. And this is a repeat within 48 hours. I thought, well, this is crazy. So I called the pathologist. He said, yes, it's been a problem for a long time, and we don't really understand it. So your physicians have been exposed to a lot of misinformation, a lot of misdirection. I know this for a fact, having practiced medicine and then discovered that things weren't like they said they were, and that we were left baffled with a lot of misinformation. One example would be that I was taught by a drug rep that you could use Prozac to figure out if somebody was depressed due to a cognitive problem because of a known etiology or unknown etiology versus just they're not coping with life and they need some help. And that was never a valid way of deciding that. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that we have American blacks who may have been from families where they had a lot of processed food and not enough iodine. And then I wanted to go to Henry Macau's site and talk about an article that he republished from years ago on how all these prominent people, from Mao Zedong to Stalin to Hitler, were all nurtured by the same groups of international banksters. Now, I just tried to find that article by going back. It was just last week he republished it. I couldn't find it. He didn't have a good search mechanism on there. But I want to direct people to try and look for that article that included Hitler, Mao Zedong, also, surprisingly, Gandhi, as people intentionally influenced to be leaders by the international banksters for their own reasons. Just saying.
Okay. You were disputing the basic racial differences in IQ there, I take it. I mean, the hypothesis is humanity, the origin of the human species occurred in Africa and gradually spread out from Africa to different parts of the world. Now, one of the key factors in developing genetic diversity turns out to be genetic drift, which is when you have a subpopulation in a different environment, geographical, weather, resource. So it has to respond to different challenges in the environment. That Africa was a very easy environment because food was abundant. It didn't require a lot of effort or planning. The seasons aren't severe. On the other hand, if you're in a northern climate in Europe or Asia or elsewhere, if you're not capable of anticipating change in the weather, if like squirrels you don't stock up nuts, you can find yourself severely handicapped. You're not going to survive to reproduce. So the basic theory about the origin and evolution of the human species is the out of Africa hypothesis. And there's just a tremendous amount of evidence, which is summarized, distilled, and analyzed in my book, The Evolution of Intelligence. So any of you want to, get into the relationship between evolution and behavior, I talk a great deal there about the difference between genetic evolution and cultural evolution. Because genetic evolution takes place very gradually. Remember, for a human, for example, it still requires 9 months of gestation to produce a new human. Well, you can have a new pop song that runs around the world, virtually at the speed of light, by radio, television. You can have new fashions, new fads that are proliferating very, very fast. So it's really quite fascinating when you sit down to sort it out, the difference between cultural and genetic evolution, where blacks are in the fix they're in as a function of evolution, and my argument is that evolution will get them out of the fix. What we've got going on here, and the reason why all the influx of migrants into the United States is so serious, is it's altering the gene pool for the future. Hey, thank you very much. Good call, Cynthia.
Okay,
Thanks a lot. Bye.
gonna change my mind and open up the door.
Let's continue the conversation with Tom from Florida. Tom, join the conversation, Tom.
Yeah, good day. Jim, yeah, and the Donna, Don, that's really nice, Donna. Donna, don't forget Liberty stickers. I'll support them, too. It's always nice to buy 100 stickers from them when you can, from Liberty stickers. They have some wonderful stickers, so just so everybody in RBN knows that. I always try to get a bunch of them. By the way, Jim, before I go to the good news today for Trumper, which is a lot of good news, actually. First off, Jim, we'll go back to Nigel Farage, what I was telling you about yesterday. But he's looking like he's really pulling up in the polls in England. So, by the way, Jim, the Supreme Court just ruled with Donald Trump about transgenderism. You heard about it, Jim?
Yes. Go ahead and tell us. Go ahead and talk about it, Tom.
Well, Trump, the Supreme Court decided with Donald Trump that he can push his narrative that he can clean out the military of transgenderism and all this homo poof nonsense they got going on in the last 30 years with these demon rats. So it's a cleanup. He's going to clean it up. And by the way, Jim, remember yesterday I was telling you about Trump's wants to pay these illegal aliens $1,000 each, go back to their country of origin. Right. He don't care if they're from Ireland. He don't care if they're from Ireland or if they're from Zimbabwe or Central America. You're going to get $1,000, head back home, and give you a nice, clean flight home. Beautiful flight home. You're flying a nice jetliner. But on top of that, Trump's just proposed, Jim? He's proposing every woman, American woman in this country, gets a $12,000 to have a baby. Can you imagine that? Donald Trump is telling the majority of the white women or whoever, black women, I guess, I don't know how that goes, but he's going to he wants them to get paid $12,000 a year, I guess for 3 years, to have children. Just like Vladimir Putin is doing in Russia, because he needs to, because his troops are getting depleted. But Trump is actually telling the American women, you start having children, and you will be getting checks. I think it's a wonderful idea that Trump's proposing. No other president in our lifetime ever did that. But Trump's actually been on the record saying, we'll have to start paying these women to have children, American children, from American citizenry. So I think that's a wonderful thing. Now, however,
yes,
going back to Trump, there's other stuff in the pipe right now that's really looking good. The tariffs look like they are going to, they're working out really good so far. China's ready to capitulate, looks like to me, and a lot of other countries. And I can tell you right now, this Social Security thing will be a big, huge thing for all the people that are senior citizens that want a tax break. No more tax on Social Security. That's money in your pocket. I got gas today for $2.68, regular, Jim. Went down 4 cents from last week. So say you, $2.68. I can't imagine what it's up there in Tennessee, Chattanooga. Chattanooga, you really got cheap gas. Used to be. I don't know how it is now, but it gets really cheap up there in Chattanooga and on that area. So I think that's wonderful news. I think you're going to see gas at $2 a gallon by December, right before Christmas. The OPEC's trying to put Russia out of business. They're pumping out more oil like crazy. OPEC against the Russians. That's not going to help. Not going to hurt the United States, but it's going to hurt Russia. So, yeah, there's a lot of things going on. And Ukraine just signed that mineral deal with the United States. We're going to recoup some of our billions of dollars we've been ripped off by Ukraine. So maybe we'll get some of that money back with this mineral deal. So that's some good stuff. Now, going back to Nigel Farage, his party, the Reform Party in England, is exploding right now, Jim. I believe they're going to take over the whole damn government. And I think that King Charles is going to have a hissy fit. And his son, no longer Harry, no longer gets the protection from the English crown. That's saving the taxpayers of England a lot of money. Meghan Markle and
what was the basis for that, Tom? Why did they pull it away from Harry?
Well, because, Merkel and Berserkel and him make quite a lot of money in Los Angeles. So why does English taxpayer have to pay all this money for the secure him in the United States? He's in the United States now. Let him pay out of his own pocket. He's got plenty of money, Harry and Meghan. English people he's not living in England. He's not representing the English crown, the king, and his brother. So I think Charles did the right thing. You're on your own. You're a grown man. You're a grown adult. You're making money.
Tom, did you hear the opening story that the U.S. has built at 21 trillion underground cities for the wealthy and powerful if there's a near extinction event? Did you hear that?
Not really. I wasn't paying attention to that, but it wouldn't surprise me. I know Colorado Springs they have a.
I would have thought you'd have been all over that.
Well,
21 trillion for underground cities for the rich and powerful, Tom.
Well,
underground
Jim, I believe it's probably more. I think it's more money than that. I think they've been doing that for years.
Who can imagine?
Well, Jim, I will say this. I heard rumors in Cuba that Castro built underground cities in Cuba. That's where most of the money goes, and they have underground cities in Havana.
I doubt that very much, but thank you for the call. Thank you for the call, Tom. We'll be right back.
Yeah. Okay.
Waits at the window, wearing the face that she keeps in a jar by the door. Who is it for? All the lonely people.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
There are places I remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever, not for better. Some have gone, and some remain. All these places have their moments with lovers and friends I still can recall. Some are dead and some are living. In my life, I've loved them all.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Layla, delighted to have you back. Please join the conversation, Layla.
I was just watching Mark Carney and Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I have to say I like the way Trump had the assertive posture, and Carney was somewhat intimidated, and that when he wanted to speak, he couldn't because he knew that Trump would drown him out. Anyway, I said yesterday that I thought Trump was going to be a very good president, and he will be because he's going to prove that it doesn't matter who's running. You never believe what anyone says on the campaign trail. You know everything they say is a lie. It's like when a guy or a woman is trying to seduce someone, they put on their best appearance and give the best lie that they think will lure in. They will give you the bait that is needed to hook you. Then once they've got you on the hook, hey, then they show who they really are. And Trump has shown us very clearly that he's a Zionist. Whether he's personally a Zionist, it doesn't really matter. Whether he's a Jew, it doesn't matter. He's basically acting like a Zionist Israeli, a total puppet, a Siamese twin of Netanyahu. And I love that because it now reminds us once again how criminal people are when they seek power. Almost all of them. And Carney, even worse. He's the most corrupt of all because he's just a little wimp that was used. He was never tall enough or big enough to be a hockey player. He's like 5'9" at most. And he's got no, if he's supposed to be a long-distance runner, I'm sorry, he's got no muscle on his thighs when I saw pictures of him in shorts, and he's got a very flat chest. Normally, if you're a long-distance runner, you need strong, large pulmonary function. So everything about the guy is that he's a liar, he's a worm, and he squirms, and I love seeing him squirm as Trump was talking. It was wonderful.
He was emphatic that Canada is not. He was emphatic that Canada is not for sale, Layla.
Exactly.
I thought he had trouble getting a word in. Go ahead.
I love that. But the irony is, have you seen what Danielle Smith, the premier of Alberta, he's not letting wimpy little Carney get away with. Here in Canada, they're calling him Carnage Carney. Yeah, that's a good name for him, Carnage. By the way, someone that you know, reminded me of what a Carney is. He's a carnival barker. The real spelling for Carney, the Irish spelling, is Kearney. Now, Mark Carney spells his name like a carnival barker. Now, he keeps his voice under control. He's obviously had a lot of practice playing the role like Justin Trudeau. He's just a better actor than Justin Trudeau was. And notice Justin has faded off into the distance. Once he got dumped when Carney told him, get away now, you piece of dirt, I'm taking over, he's faded, probably going off somewhere, hugging his teddy bear and whimpering, gee, I can't be the big shot anymore. I can't be Mr. Gorgeous on stage. But anyway, it just goes to show we can't trust any leaders. Now, Danielle Smith looks pretty convincing. I think everybody should go to YouTube and see what she said yesterday about Alberta being sovereign, having the right to develop its resources, and having the right to sell its resources. That Alberta has, for to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars, or maybe it was tens of billions, I can't remember, they have supported the poorer provinces in Canada. That's the way this socialist commie country works. The ones who have money or work for it have to support those who don't. And in fact, under Justin Trudeau, the government not only encouraged safe injection sites, they actually made hard drugs legal because they want the people drugged up so they could bring in criminals from outside. They've imported so many migrants. It's disgusting. And now here Mark Carney is saying our population, when it was still comfortable, was around 30 million, 35 million maximum. Carney wants to make it 100 million. But where are you going to put them? Remember that great line in the, one about the baseball player, build it and they will come? No. Carney wants to bring in, they brought in a whole bunch of migrants knowing they had no place to put them. So the Canadians that used to have jobs, the white Christian Canadians who built this country, who used to have jobs, are now living in tents. And they're desperate, and they've ended up on drugs in order to be able to tolerate the lives they have. So now Mark Carney wants to make the population 100 million. Where's he going to put them? In his backyard? No, it's going to be at everyone else's expense. So the nice thing about Trump is, as I said while he was running, I said the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. As any bookie on a racetrack will tell you, you've got to look at the track record. And when it's a young person, there's a chance they might reform and become a different person. But when you get up into your 50s, your life patterns, behavioral patterns are pretty well set. You can look at their history and say, this is what they're going to do if they have the opportunity. If they have been crooked, they will be in the future. And there's nothing worse. Remember how they used to make Richard Nixon equate him with used car salesmen? In those days, used car salesmen, when new cars were affordable with the great combustion engine, the new car, anybody could have a new car. Only used cars were considered junk. And that's what a used car salesman was, someone who pretended it was a golden chariot and he was going to sell it to you. So Trump has shown us that anyone who seeks power is usually 95% of the time the equivalent with a used car salesman. So I'll let you go. And thank you for the opportunity. And again, Trump, thank you very much for being as domineering as you are and showing Carney for the wimp that he really is. He wouldn't be there. And the nerve of him to bring that creep King Charles, who was responsible for the murder of Diana, Lady Diana, and he's bringing his slutty Camilla. Do you know that her grandmother was also a mistress to a previous king? I mean, it kind of runs in their bloodline. And Pierre Trudeau, much as I dislike Pierre Trudeau, he released us from the clutches of the monarchy. In 1982, he created a Canadian constitution. Sorry, you need to let me go.
Thanks.
All right.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Dan in Washington. Dan, join the conversation.
Man, I must not have been the only one calling in early, huh? I called in like 5 minutes early thinking I'd get right through.
Go right ahead, Dan.
You were talking about Haim Sullivan that loaned George Washington and those guys money for the revolution. Have you heard the theory about the dollar bill? Like if you look on the back of a dollar bill, above the eagle's head, there's like a group of stars, and if you look at those stars, you see a Star of David right there, and that's the theory is they put that there to like always thank the Jews for loaning the money to the American Revolution.
Is there Star of David on the back of it? I'll take a look. That's a new one on me, Dan. That's a new one on me. What else you got?
Yeah, that's it. You just look at those stars for a second on the dollar bill, back of any dollar bill, and you'll see a Star of David. That was the main thing. IQ, well, there's other stuff that's come out, too, as far as most humans have 2% Neanderthal DNA, and they're thinking now that out of Africa theory might be totally fake or, not true. That basically in Africa they actually had almost a different monkey-type creature that African Americans...
No, Dan, come on. That's just rubbish. That's it. That's just rubbish. Having common genetic ancestors doesn't mean humans evolved from apes. We did not. We simply had common genetic origins and evolved in different ways to create the various species, animal, and the like.
Well,
By the way, I trace the development of mind, of mentality, through animal species to humans who have the most sophisticated minds of all animals. But, the subtitle of the book, Are Humans the Only Animals with Minds? To which I provide an emphatic answer, absolutely not. Say a few more words, Dan. Go ahead.
Well, IQ isn't, check into the Neanderthal DNA, but real quick, IQ is not everything. When you guys were born, America was 90% white. So when you have homogeneity, when you have a nation of people, you're supposed to take care of the smart people and the stupid people. It's not all about IQ. If you look at a country like Russia on the rise, they take care of all their people because they're all the same nation of people. That matters more than the average IQ in the long run. So that's why America's screwed.
You're talking about a difference between morality and values versus attributes. And I think Russia is a more moral society, a more just and moral society than the United States has ever been. So certainly to that extent, I agree with you, Dan. Give us a final thought, Dan.
I mean, America never voted to go from 90% white to 90% non-white. So it's done.
Yeah.
It's
not
I wouldn't support a government that does that to people.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks.
Thanks.
Let's get Mark in New York in here. Mark from New York, join the conversation. Mark.
Hey, Jim, regarding your debate on Thursday night.
Yeah.
You won't get anywhere with Nyquist, Jeff Nyquist. He's a blockhead. Don't cast your pearls, Jim. I can't stand less.
I mean, the point is to present alternative views and to defend them. He apparently believes the official narrative, Lee Oswald, 3 shots.
I know it.
And,
I know it.
Well, I'm going to explain how we know that's rubbish.
I've heard the argument. I've heard the argument on.
Agrees. I'm not addressing him. I'm addressing the audience. I mean, obviously, the guy is. I take your word for it. He's a blockhead. He's not going to be persuaded one way or another. So that cannot be my objective. My objective is to bring the country, the audience, up to date on what 30 years of research have shown since Oliver Stone's film JFK appeared. What I'm going to be doing is reporting what we have learned since then in the last 30 years, which oddly enough, Oliver Stone and this Eugenio guy didn't say a word about any of it to Congress when they were there talking about the files. They fell flat. I regard it as a betrayal. I actually got on Stu Peters and gave a summary of why I was, why some think that Oliver betrayed the JFK research community. He may not even know. I think he's just completely out of date. He was the wrong guy. But I'm going to compensate. I'm going to explain to everyone what we've learned in the last 30 years of research.
Well, anyone that whacked out on worldviews as he is has to be a paid asset. He's all about those that don't have a clue as to what's going on, and he can't even relate to the recently awake truth seekers. I don't know. It's I can't stand listening to him. He's the reason I won't listen to RBN in the morning. He'll just talk over you, especially when you head home. So, good luck.
Forewarned. Thank you. Much appreciated, Mark. Much appreciated. Let's see, we got John in Michigan. John, join the conversation.
Hello, Jim. That was interesting with the gentleman before you. And when you were talking about the dollar bill, all my dollar bills smell like perfume, so who's running the dollars? No matter, pull them out of your pocket and just smell them. They smell like perfume. So the women must be spending money somewhere. And I'm not being racist or sexist, but
That's kind of odd, isn't it? Odd. Good. Continue. Go ahead, John.
Well, and we were talking about underground camps. Well, I remember when Mayorkas was in there, and they were talking about building camps. And even Cheney we have camps already built above ground with rail tracks going in, and if we should be using those if we're going to be rounding up people that don't belong here, and just treat them civil as we should until they can be deported. But that's something that has to be looked into, because Mayorkas stated that they would use a term called housekeeping. And the only place that housekeeping has validity is in the Federal Register. And I got that from Ralph Winterroud. And I think that that should be something that should be checked out. And Cynthia had a great, interesting story about iodine. We lack iodine in this country, and people that do live near the coastlines get it in their air. But the iodine is being compromised by fluoride that's in the water. Were you aware of that?
Iodine compromised by fluoride? Well, we'll get the fluoride out, it appears, John. That's good. So that'll be a benefit. Good.
Well, correct.
Extra benefit.
Well, I brought
away
up
a negative that's been neutralizing a positive and restore the positive. Very good, John.
Well, it has to do with the valence. It's fluoride and iodine, and I think barium are on the same valence. And this is a scientific word, folks, in the audience. It's an element, a positive or negative charge. And I brought up the fact about chromium and vanadium for the diabetics out there. And in this book, Minerals for the Genetic Code, it can be found on the internet, Minerals for the Genetic Code. Dr. Ulrey, who lives up here in northern Michigan, that was written about him, and it breaks down every element and the importance to our body. In the foreword to the book, though, he exposes the whole fluoride fraud. It's a great read for that part alone, but it would be something that I think people should read or get an access to. Minerals for the Genetic Code by Charles Walters.
John,
thanks.
I didn't keep good track of time. I got a bunch of callers and no time left. John.
Well, let me just finish. Well, let me finish this. The fluoride bypass it compromises 73 pathways in the body. And if you go to Dr. Brownstein, who's also a Michigan doctor and did a research on iodine, the whole expose there. But fluoride blocks it affects the thyroid. And it really affects people in very many ways. And so it's in your toothpaste. It's in your toothpaste, and you get out. Just don't put it in your body. And God bless you, Jim.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. Wayne in Texas. Wayne, your thoughts?
Yeah, hi, Jim. Thanks. I just wanted to push back a little bit on the lady who was basically calling Trump a liar based on some of the things he said during his campaign. Number one, he shut down the border to the tune of 99% from where it was a year ago, which means less crime, less welfare for these illegals. They've already seized 22 million fentanyl pills. How many thousands of lives has that saved from doing that? He said he was going to cut government waste. Doe just cut about 165. They found 165 billion they can attack there, which means a ton of tax savings for Americans. He pushed for new investment to get some communities and new factories. $8 trillion are coming in. And you know as well as I do, that does create thousands of jobs. It will revive communities, and the domino effect will move on through that whole area.
Yeah.
He says he's going to cut oil. Oil's now below $60 per barrel, okay, which means less inflation, prices will come down. So somebody calling him a liar doesn't know what the hell she's talking about.
Well, he said he was going to be the peace president, and he was going to solve these wars, and he's making them worse. And he said he was going to be all for free speech, and he's clamping down on the colleges and universities who are protesting the genocide, which he continues to support. Frankly, I think there's a case to be made on both sides. And I'm not worried about the things he's doing that are right, and you're correct about them, but the things that seem to me he's doing that are wrong, that he said he wouldn't do, or more or less implied when he was campaigning. So I think the case is not at all clear-cut, Wayne, but I'm glad.
Well, but I think, Jim, I would say this, and I think he's accomplished about 70% so far of what he promised. Now, you talk about the genocides and all that. How about the 300,000 dead Americans from fentanyl poisoning the last few years? That's a hell of a lot more than died even in Gaza and these other places. How about 70,000 white farmers in South Africa that were murdered over the last couple of decades? Isn't that a genocide? So we can pick and choose our genocides, but, again, right now, Trump has so many things on his plate, he can't solve them all at once, and the Gaza thing's been going on for decades.
Wayne, look, he's providing the weapons to slaughter the Palestinians. That's completely wrong. The President of the United States shouldn't be doing that. He was attacking the Houthis. That was completely wrong. Now, he apparently is backing off, but they've declared war on Israel. We should be declaring war on Israel, not supplying the weapons to slaughter these innocent people who have a 3,000-year claim to the land of Palestine. Wayne, look, don't go overboard on Trump. He's got a lot of positive, but he's got some very serious negatives. I was supporting the guy right and left when we started blowing things up, threatening to attack Iran, supporting Ukraine. He said he was going to settle that in 24 hours. Well, now he's made a mineral deal that could commit the U.S. to defending Ukraine from Russia. Wayne, that's nutty. It's a big mistake. And I'm not going to let him off the hook. You may be willing. You're entitled to do that in your mind. I'm not going to do it in mine. Go ahead.
We did not. Again, with the Iran thing, we had threatened nuclear war with North Korea when he was his first term, and there was a lot of tension back then. And what he does, he forced them to back down, and they became basically, decent partners for some of the things going on over there. So a lot of times you can't put too much on what the political rhetoric says, Jim.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Wayne. I hope it all works out and we're all alive next week and the week after and the week after that. Glad you
agree
called.
On that.
Glad you called. Huh?
Thank you.
I'm glad you called.
That. Thank you.
You got it. Tom in Utah, what will have you here, Tom? Go ahead, give us a thought.
I'm just going to tell you, seaweed is a filter feeder. And I don't think I would take my Brita water filter out of my water filter, cut it up and put it on a sandwich because of the iodine that the filter would have accumulated out of the water. In other words, I used to have to go up to Petaluma, California, to the marine biology station, and I was, aghast at the filth, the contaminants that come out of the seaweeds. And they're not weeds. They're a microscopic animal, filter feeding animal, and they clean up the water. So if you want to have iodine, the best place to get it is from your root vegetables. Because the root vegetables are drafting it right out of the soil. Anyway.
Very good.
And
very good, Tom. Much appreciated. Much apprecited. James in Vancouver, squeeze in a word. Where several I'm leaving hanging. Call in tomorrow. We're going to be better shape. We're getting used to this Teams thing. Frankly, I was at a loss here as to how to even connect today. Go ahead.
Because it's fluoride is toxic because of its high electronegativity. It'll rip electrons out of proteins, okay? High electronegativity is toxic. Iodine doesn't have that high electronegativity. Okay, back to you tomorrow, let's say.
Thanks. Yeah, tomorrow. Sorry for everyone I left hanging. Spending much time with your family, your friends, and people you love and care about. We don't know how much time we have left. Use it wisely and support RBN. I'll be debating this guy on Thursday at 9 Central right here on RBN.